Rise up. It's time for another episode of Spartivation, your podcast source for inspiration and motivation to get you through your Spartan body transformation. Here now is your host, the Spartan Doctore, champion of growth.
It is a glorious day to train and grow. I am Ryan Masters, the Spartan Doctore, certified strength and conditioning specialist, here to provide you with motivation and inspiration as you journey through your body transformation. Welcome to another episode of Spartivation, broadcast directly to you from Tri-Infection Studios. Please remember, if you find these episodes helpful, be sure to subscribe and leave a review so I know to make more of them for you. Today we are continuing our discussion of the Spartan Body Blueprint, which teaches you how to strategic document, teaching you how to build a ripped Spartan physique in less than 5 hours a week. You can download this for free at spartivation.com. And going to talk about, we just kind of wrapped up the ethos, and we're going to talk about now one of my favorite topics. And this jumps back up to the S3 mindset in the blueprint, and this is systems. You know, Spartan is systems based. A modern Spartan bases his training off a systems mindset. Spartan physique is not built from one independent factor, i.e. like a workout, but instead there are multiple interconnecting elements that impact his body, confidence, and strength, and he continually works to optimize them as a whole in the most time-efficient manner possible. And the reason I love this so much, because I hate inefficiency and ineffectiveness, is that this is the secret sauce to making 2, 3, or even 10 times the progress of building a muscular physique with 1/3 of the time required that an average guy would take. And this is, so there's so much power in using systems when it comes to transforming your body and vis-a-vis transforming your life. And if you're an engineer or an entrepreneur, you probably already are at least somewhat familiar with systems, and you've heard about them and you understand their importance in life. But if you're not, don't worry. We're going to kind of start with an overview. And a system is it's a process or a mechanism or machine. It's anything that is an enclosed entity, and there's a number of spinning parts or components, and they all move to a singular purpose or a singular goal. And so that's like the mechanical definition of a system. You know, it's like you got a watch, and inside the watch you have all kinds of spinning gears and mechanisms, and so that's a system in there that they're all working to keep time and keep it moving. But systems are something, especially if you're new to this concept, it can be a little difficult to wrap your head around. So instead of like talking about mechanical descriptions, let's jump into some real life examples. And the first one is the water example I talked about in a previous episode. Not only was that an example of controlling your Sparta domain, but it's setting up a system to help support you. And so with the water example, we're talking about how important it is that you continually drink water if your goal is to build muscle and burn fat. And a lot of people make the mistake of thinking, okay, I'll tell myself to drink more water, and they go on this like willpower push for a week or a couple days, and they drink more water, and then they go back to their old selves. So how many times does that happen to you? Not even with water, but with anything. You start something new, like you're totally amped up to do it, and you do start it, and then just life gets in the way, things happen, and all of a sudden you're not doing it anymore. Well, the reason why, it's not because you're a bad person, not because you're a failure, or you have no willpower. It's because you're not using systems, or you're not using them correctly, or you're not optimizing them. That is the problem. And so if you're out there searching for another trick or tip on how to improve water or how to improve a workout, like you're asking the wrong questions. You want to be looking at, how do I improve my system? So the water system that I have now is, as I sit here and talk to you from Trifection, I have a styrofoam cup that I'm lifting up, getting a nice cold glass of water, and that stays right here by my hand in front of my computer all day. So right there, that's a mini system in and of itself. By keeping that water cup right there, I have set up a system where I am more apt to drink that water because it's so convenient and it's right in front of me. So a lot of people will do this. You'll have a water bottle that you carry around, and that's part of your system. Now, that's only one piece of the system because, yes, there's a cup here with water, and I lift it to drink it, but how do I get it refilled? Well, we will look at the other pieces or other components of the system, and that would be, the water base. So where do I get the water from? And this is where the system can vary. Like, you could be sitting at your desk and you have a glass of water too, and you have to get the water, you have to get up and walk across the hall all the way down to the water fountain, and then press the water fountain, fill it up, stand, come back down, sit down. And so that's kind of your system. That's where you go to get and drink more water. And so to optimize that, an example of optimizing that would be, is there a way that we can get that water source closer to you? Can we have a case of water sitting under your desk? Or in my case, I have a water cooler tower thing, and it's literally 5 feet right behind me. So I spin around and fill it up, and I have water. And that's by design. Like, it doesn't happen by accident. That's the whole point. You design these systems, and I haven't always done this. It's something that, for about 2 years I have, but before I was, one of my systems, or my previous water system, was I would buy cases of those water bottles from Costco and drink those, and just have those, one in my car, one in my bedroom, one in my office by my feet, because now water's always there. And again, that's the example of improving the system. So you're looking at what are the components of the system that I can, and how can I improve them to make it easier, less effort for me to get what I want accomplished to change my body. So let's take another example of outside of fitness, just an example of a system and why they're so beneficial. Because I really want you, the takeaway here is I want you to, this is not going to teach you systems in one little podcast, but it's at least enough to get your brain, your gears going, and get you thinking about, okay, what is this system stuff that Dr. is talking about? I need to find out more about this. And this is why in Spartan Rises I teach you all the systems like the one that I use, because it makes it so much easier for you to progress and build muscle and burn fat. But let's talk about a system example that is not fitness related, and that would be listening to music. Okay, so when you are listening to music on your phone or in the car, but let's just say your phone, you have to scroll through, and first of all you have to think, like, what are the components? Well, I got to think of a song I want to play. Okay, so that could be easy, or it could be, when you're sitting there looking at 5,000 options, a bunch of different artists and songs, you're like, oh, what song do I want to listen to? So it can be a little bit of a struggle there. And then you play the song, and then what? Okay, now I got to think of another song and play it, or, you're just playing an album straight through, and you don't really care about half those songs. So, it works, and that's what a lot of people do. They play some music, but it's not, optimal if the goal of this particular system is for you to always be listening to music that you really enjoy and really pumps you up and changes your mood. So how can we, using a systems mindset, how can we change this and optimize the system? And that would be with playlists. Okay, so a playlist is an example of a system. It's a perfect example of a system where you set up to listen to the music that you want to hear that will change your mood. And see, you have to spend a little bit of time up front. And that's just like all systems. You have to spend time up front kind of thinking about and putting together that system. So in this case, you're researching, maybe you're now at the computer and you're researching, all right, what playlists do I want to look at? You look at your iTunes, you see what songs are popular that you've played. Maybe you look at some bestseller charts to get ideas. But the point is you're taking some time out, let's just say, 15 minutes to build a playlist. And now that you have that dedicated time and you've built this playlist, now anytime you're in the car, what's the system? How do you activate it? Boy, you just click play on the playlist. That's it. No more thinking of like, what individual songs do I want to play now? What should I play after this, etc., and so forth. No, you just go it goes right from song to song, and you now have mental energy that you can spend paying attention to driving, which you should have been doing in the first place, right? So, and same thing with like DJs for weddings or events. They don't sit there and think of like, all right, what song do I want to play next? No, they've got like a whole playlist ready to rock and roll. And yeah, they'll take requests, so it's still flexible. But they have a playlist because that's their system that they can operate from. And if they weren't using, I just want you to understand the tax that you pay with mental energy, physical energy, willpower, by not using systems in your life. So if some DJ was at a wedding and he was silly enough to not make a playlist, now he's like freaking out, or he's just thinking while the current song's playing, he's sitting there thinking about, okay, what song do I want to play next? And then he drags it on, and he's not able to enjoy the event. He probably feels a little more stressed. He may not be able to take requests as well, and just doesn't provide as good of an experience to his customers if he was using a system. So it's the same thing for you with and there are so many systems, and some of them are universal, some of them will be specific to you, but when you just get this system awareness as far as in your life, zooming out, kind of zooming above and looking down at your life from a fitness and health standpoint and saying, okay, what are the systems in play here, and how can I optimize them to require less energy from me? When you make that shift, that is a huge mindset shift that 97% of the people out there do not have when it comes to this stuff. And so as a Spartan disciple, I want you to be armed to the teeth with all the systems so that this is easier for you. But no matter how many systems you have or don't have in your life, always remember, never retreat, never surrender, and keep moving forward.